I bet a limb on it, as long as it doesn't have to be removed.
And generally speaking, without reviewing to your training materials, can you describe what you train Minneapolis police officers about?
Then I didn't write about the razor.
This is a class that is taught
I'll
at
check
the
later.
academy.
Take it up with the
It's
universe.
a 1 hour block of
Lodge another complaint
one
against
hour,
me.
1 hour block of instruction to recognize the signs and symptoms of excited delirium and your best response
I might have,
for handling that.
but it
So
helped to hear
excited
someone
delirium
who
is
felt
a
like they walked through
combination of psychomotor agitation,
a metal detector that felt like
psychosis, hypothermia,
screen
a wide
in.
variety of things you might see in a person or
Oh,
really
what is screen?
bizarre behavior. And recognizing that this is a medical condition, not necessarily a criminal matter.
Would that include discussion of controlled substances in the context of excited delirium?
Yes, because what we're usually teaching is that most of the people that are experiencing something like excited delirium, usually there's illicit drugs on board that might be a contributing factor.
And
God,
as
could you help
far
me with
as,
Forky, please?
um,
Please?
what do you train Minneapolis police officers relevant to the physical attributes of a person experiencing excited delirium?
The person might be experiencing a hypothermia, means elevated body temperature. That could be displayed with somebody taking off their clothes in a place that's not appropriate to take off your clothes, or like in the middle of winter or something like that. And just based on their activity, their heart rate might be extremely elevated, and they might be insensitive to pain.
How does it affect strength?
Because you don't really have that pain compliance edge that would normally otherwise kind of control somebody's behavior. So somebody experiencing this, they might have what we call superhuman strength. They might be able to lift things they wouldn't normally otherwise be able to lift. They might be breaking things, where they then have blood like substances that you need to be cautious of.
Thank you. Now, in terms of, I'm going to just back up and talk a little bit more about the response to a medical emergency like EMS, based on your experience as
30
a
or
police
40 or
officer
70.
and an EMT. You talked about how sometimes EMS will stage off-site until a scene is clear and safe, correct?
Correct.
And have you heard the term load and go?
Yes.
Can you describe for the jury what that is?
I wouldn't sit and try to
That'd
figure
be,
it out.
I think it's more like an
Figure it out.
informal term that's used with first responders. That essentially means that as soon as they're going to be arriving, it's a priority to get that person into the ambulance as soon as possible and get en route to the
What the fuck is
hospital as soon as
virtual
possible.
money?
Are there
Here,
reasons
Tesla.
why an EMT would, or a paramedic would choose to do that rather than administering first
Some
aid
gold. You make gold
at the
chop.
scene?
Yes.
Give me some
What are
money.
those reasons?
By
If you know. If you don't know, just say so.
Sure. I feel comfortable answering it. And by way of example, if maybe somebody had
Firm.
a knife in their chest, obviously there's only so many things you can do for that person pre-hospital. Really the only thing that's going to save that person is immediate surgery.
So there may be conditions of the individual that warrant that type of pick up and go?
Yeah.
And what about people in the area? Could that affect an EMT's
Hi,
decision
Paul.
to load and go?
Yes.
How so?
If you have very hostile or volatile crowd, I know
think I
it
did.
sounds unreasonable, but
think I did.
bystanders do occasionally attack EMS crews. So sometimes just getting out of the situation is the best way to diffuse it.
And have you ever had to perform emergency services in not even a hostile crowd, just a loud, excited crowd?
Yes.
Is that, in your experience, more or less difficult?
It's incredibly difficult.
Why?
There you go.
Because if you're trying to be heads down on a patient that you need to render aid to, it's very difficult to focus on that patient while there's other things around you. If you don't feel safe around you, if you don't have enough resources, it's very difficult to focus on the one thing in front of you.
Can be distracting.
Absolutely.
And so does it make it more difficult to assess a patient?
It does.
Does it make it more likely that you may miss signs that a patient is experiencing something?
Yes.
And so the distraction can actually harm the potential care of the patient.
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Turn around. Go to sleep.
Our officers trained that sometimes they have to provide emergency medical services in less than ideal conditions. These rendering of emergency aid in practice does not happen in a classroom setting, does it? And so you're in the environment as you find it. Is that right?
Yes.
And in terms of a crowd being hostile, how would you define hostility?
That would be a growing contingent of people around if they're, yelling, being, even verbally abusive to those that are trying to provide scene security.
Okay. What else?
If there's people trying to interfere with a crime scene or, interfere with a patient.
What can you do about her?
Yep.
Throw rocks or bottles?
Yes.
Something like that could prevent someone from providing emergency aid, is that right?
Absolutely.
Can the activities, though, of a crowd, and the activities of a group of onlookers excuse a police officer from the duty to render emergency medical aid to a subject who needs it?
Only if they were physically getting themselves involved, I would say.
If they were physically prevented, if the officer was physically prevented from doing it?
Yes.
I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things you said were indicative of excited delirium. You said the superhuman strength, is that right?
Yes.
And what you said was that it was because of the inability to feel pain, is that right?
That's a part of it, yes.
And the inability to feel pain is something that you associate with, or you train officers to associate with excited delirium?
That it could be a case of excited delirium, yes.
And so if someone was actually manifesting a response to pain, indicating that something was hurting them, then that would tend to indicate that they're not suffering from excited delirium. Isn't that right? What would a subject's response to pain stimulus suggest then, as it relates to excited delirium?
That, well, it may or may not be excited delirium. It's a little bit hard to predict because no two people ever really present the exact same way.
And so then how do you tell what it is?
Well, that's not up for us to diagnose. It's just a matter of taking in the information you have at that time to decide if this could potentially be a case of that, or we just need to plan accordingly.
And you indicated that whatever excited delirium is, you look at it as a medical issue
Correct.
that needs treatment.
Yes.
And in terms of drug use as well, it's fair to say that if someone is showing a condition of drug intoxication, it can make them vulnerable,
Yes.
not just violent.
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Members of the jury, let's take 10 minutes. We have to deal with one issue. The witness will remain, however. So 10 minutes and we'll be back in touch. sidebar at some point where the state objected to the excited delirium training material, and essentially, I think, Mr. Swisher, I don't want to speak for you too much, that your preference would be that Mr. Nelson not be allowed to present it at this time, but only as part of his case in chief, which would require this witness to come back during his case in chief. Is that correct? All right, and so that's the basic objection, is the timing as opposed to the admissibility. Okay, Mr. Nelson, what did you want to deal with?
If we could have a private conversation.
I'm going to excuse you for the day. She can be excused at this point, is that correct? You can be excused for the day, but the defense would like to call you back during that
I would
case.
rather be in denial about
And
that,
so,
wouldn't you?
Mr. Nelson will serve a subpoena on you at some point so that you've got it mostly for his contact information.
Sure.
Because in the interim, I'm gonna order that your subpoena that you were previously served still is enforced, and that you should, unless you hear otherwise, come next Tuesday at 9 a.m. But most likely, Mr. Nelson will be in contact to tell you when exactly, so you don't just waste your time coming down.
Told you.
Does that work? Okay, so, Mr. Nelson, how is that gonna be served?
Probably careful.
Normally, yes.
I'll get this served through the Federation or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll check that stuff, but for today, we're excused, thank you. All right,
When it matters,
so,
no?
2:35 that point.
Well, I probably did know that. I mean, I just forgot. Who was with me on
And
the
we've been
bus ride?
listening to day 7 of witness testimony in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin.
I don't
The
know how
trial
it
has
works.
just broken for a recess. Chauvin is accused of killing George Floyd last May. We've been listening to Officer Nicole McKenzie, Minneapolis
something
Police
like
Medical
that.
Response Coordinator. She was asked about CPR and policies surrounding rendering emergency aid. We're going to take a quick break now, but we've got a lot more news ahead.
Hello?
Stay with us. You're streaming CBSN.
Laura?
News
Yeah.
always on.
This call may get monitored or recorded. Do you know Laura Lansford by any chance?
Yeah, that's me.
That's you? Okay. This call may get monitored or recorded. I am calling to help you to avoid a potential lawsuit if you hang in there with me, okay? My name is Annie Davis. I am calling you with Midland Credit Management about your Credit One bank account that was purchased. I'm a debt collector and this is an attempt to collect a debt. Any information obtained will be used for that purpose. Balance is $1,225.23. So how can we get this resolved today?
I don't know. I was homeless for 5 months, and I'm just getting back on my feet.
Okay. All right, ma'am. I'm not here to make things challenging for you, okay? Now, can I ask you then what happened that you got behind on this bill? Exactly.
Well, it was, behind on that bill? My bank account went wacky on me. I couldn't keep up with my, adding and subtracting. I mean, I'm good at math in general, but everything went wacky on me. I didn't understand it.
Okay. Can you throw some more light, ma'am? Because I'm not understanding exactly what went wrong with your account and, what went wrong that you got behind on this bill.
I just ended up having less money in my account than I should have. And I have suspected the bank of, messing with my account, but it's something I can't prove. because I had about 1,000 pages of printed stuff, and it was all stolen. So,
Oh my goodness.
um, I really don't know. Can I let you know in about 6 weeks? I might be able to start making small payments on it.
Okay. Well, Laura, first of all, ma'am, I really appreciate that, you have intention to work on this bill. And moreover, ma'am, not only one, I have two bills on my desk.
Right,
Okay?
I have two.
And both the bills in a pre-legal status. The other one is for credit one as well. I think both the bills for credit one. Okay?
Did you say Chase
Now-
Bank when you started? Did you say Chase Bank?
What was that?
When you started talking to me, did you say Chase Bank?
No. This is for your credit one bank account.
Right, which is Capital One, right?
No, both the bills are for credit one bank account. Okay, and
okay.
both are in pre-legal status.
Okay.
All right, ma'am. Now I will explain that what is pre-legal status to you. But I see that the last payment made on this bill was in June last year. That was for $149.95. I mean, that was a pretty much good payment. So did you try to speak with the bank and try to work out something on this bill after that?
Oh, did I? I don't even know because it was at the end of July that I became homeless.
Okay. So you were not you were not contacted by the bank about the bills?
Yes, I have been
These bills
a
are-
few times, and I've explained. They called a couple times while I was homeless. So,
Okay.
yeah, I just said I'm homeless, and, and now I'm in a position, I'm just getting back on my feet. I might get a financial break in the next 6 weeks to 2 months. It's something I went to a meeting today, and I could probably pay $25 on each account for a while,
Okay.
but I need to see if I'm going to get that break, and it'll be at least a month before I know.
Okay. Well, Laura, I get what you're saying, okay? That you need some time and you just want to start on the bill. I understand what you're saying now, okay? And trust me, I'll try to reciprocate on my end for your efforts when you are willing to get this bill right, okay?
Right.
Now, the ultimate goal is to figure out a solution on this bill and, try to find out something that can help you financially as well. All right.
Well, I'd like to have the
Moreover,
credit
ma'am-
cards eventually reinstated. So it is in my best interest to pay them. But I'm just not in a
Yes.
position to do it at this exact moment.
No issues, ma'am. No one's asking you to do wonders on this bill. So
Okay.
now what I'll do, I'll connect this call to my manager, Marcus, and he's a very good man. He can use his exception and he'll explain to you what is going on with the pre-legal situation on the bill. Okay?
No issues. Thank you so much. I'll take it from here. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
This is Marcus Watts. I'm the manager with Midland Credit Management. How are
Right.
you doing today?
Good.
All right, great. Good to hear that. Well, I do want to apologize. I had to intervene in between the discussion that you were having with my associate here. I was informed by her that she is talking to an honest woman who wants to resolve her bill but do not have the ability to clear the total outstanding in one go. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And I do want to apologize. I mean, if in case I may touch base on anything that you have already discussed. The only reason I came online is to have a better understanding about your situation and get you a solution that suits you better, whatever it may be for you. Okay?
Right.
Now, Laura, we have got two bills under your name. Okay, I'm not sure whether my associate discussed both of them with you or
Right.
not.
Credit One Bank and. Right. Okay.
The first one, we have got a bigger balance, which is your Credit One Bank. That is a Visa credit card with an outstanding balance of $1,225.23. Okay. The other account that we have got it is another credit card, once again from Credit One. This Visa card ends with 4932 with a balance outstanding as $1,036.59.
Right.
Okay. Now, I just wanted to understand first of all, Laura. Obviously, I'm sure my associate did try to communicate about the current status on the account. I mean, let me not talk about it for a moment.
Okay.
Let me not talk about anything related to litigation or a lawsuit and all of that. Let's keep that aside for a while.
Okay.
I just wanted to understand one thing here. I mean, what exactly happened that you had to set this bill aside and let this go?
Well, I was made homeless. My experience of it was my landlord was engaged in some criminal activity where I was concerned. I contacted the DA's office and never heard back. I was evicted, and I was wrongly evicted. I was evicted for paying rent late twice in like a 7-month period.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I became homeless because I had applied. Social Security gives benefits through a Direct Express card sometimes.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And it didn't arrive. I didn't have access to my funds for 6 to 8 weeks once I was homeless. I couldn't even buy a soda or anything. And then when I was getting ready, I was looking continuously for a place to live. And I fell and broke my shoulder in late December, and I was incapacitated for a while, and I'm still having home health care. I had to have surgery, a complete shoulder reversal replacement surgery. So I'm not at full capacity, but meanwhile, I had applied for something they have in Wisconsin, Department of Workforce Development. And I was hoping to have a part-time job, but I had done that before I damaged my shoulder. So I'm almost pretty much homebound, and I may be facing a knee replacement so that I can walk okay. So it's just one thing after another, and I could pay $10 a month now just to pay something, and then I was telling your associate, I may get a financial break on the rent. I've applied for a Section 8 voucher. If I do that, I can at least pay $25 on each account. And after that, I don't know how high. I'm very careful because I don't want to be in the position of being homeless again. So I'm very careful that my priorities are rent, phone, and I have a lifeline system.
Okay.
So I could pay $10 on each account for now. If that could keep the lawsuit, give me, say, 6 weeks. I should know in 6 weeks whether I'm going to get a break on the rent.
Okay.
And then if I can get a
Well, I
break on... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You were saying something. Sorry, I interrupted you.
If I can get a break on the rent, then I can pay at least $25 a month. Possibly more. It depends on how much break on the rent I get.
Okay. Now, Laura, as much I mean, I would do my best, anything and everything in my power and my authority to be able to make it as reasonable as possible.
Right. Okay.
To avoid any litigation on the account. Now, we also need to understand that as we speak right now, Laura, the complete and the full balances are due. Okay? But I'm not talking about that part because obviously if you had that fund available with you, you and I would not be on the phone. First of all, before we move ahead, I wish you a speedy recovery. I wish things are only going to get better with time for you as far as your health is concerned. Okay? Because and slowly and gradually, I'm sure things will get better when it comes to the finances as well. Now, you told me about excuse me, you told me about that you got evicted. You had to vacate that house that